Women have been conditioned by society to be, act, and think a certain way. Here at Girls IRL, we encourage women to challenge societal norms and embrace their femininity. With that being said, let's get into this week's episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Girls in Real Life podcast. I am your host, Mariah Clayton. Happy April! I cannot believe today is April 1st. It's April Fool's Day, which I don't really understand why we even have April Fool's Day. Like, who decided to have a day full of jokes and pranks and stupid things? Because sounds like something a man would come up with, honestly. But it is also my birthday month. It's my birthday month. Even though, honestly, y'all, I said it in last week's episode, but I don't really have anything planned for my birthday this year. So I really don't know what we're doing. Oh, I know one thing we're doing. Justin's going to boil crawfish on Sunday, which is the day of my actual birthday, the 7th. And then Saturday on the 6th, I think we're going to do something together, but I haven't really decided what that's going to be yet. So I still really don't know, but excited nonetheless that we are in April. Spring is upon us, warmer weather. If you're watching on YouTube, I am in yet again another spot. This is the floor of our master bedroom. This has kind of become like one of my little favorite spots, is in front of these two big windows in our master bedroom, because it just gets so much natural light, and I don't know, I feel like it looks good. So even though I might be uncomfortable for a little while as I talk to you guys, I was like, we got to get it because the vibes are here. But this is pretty much what our master bedroom looks like. If you guys are watching, ignore that red thing. That is a bin full of clothes that I need to go through and put away. But this is our bed. Obviously, we're not keeping this dresser. This is just our old one, and we have it in here for now until we find something that we like. We have my mirror there, door to our outside patio, and then the bathroom is this little dark space right here, which I think we're going to get doors to put right there. But yeah, that's pretty much the master bedroom, so welcome. All the floors in the house are officially done, which is so exciting. Most of the floors in the house are this beautiful, like, laminate wood that we picked out. It's literally everywhere except the bathrooms, so it looks so good. It reflects off of the light so well, and it just brings like a cozy warmth to the space, which is what I'm really going for. I really want the house to feel warm and inviting when you walk in, not too like bright white, but more so just kind of like calm and serene. So that's kind of what I'm going for with the house vibes. But speaking of floors, we also put floors in my little office/studio, which is outside in the garage, and even the floors in there look so good. I cannot wait to transform that space and show y'all. I have to figure out how I want that space to look. Like, I really do need to get on Pinterest and start designing things, because I need to get on that so I can have a specific place to record my podcast instead of just sitting in random spots around the house. But that really is all of the house updates. Another little update that I wanted to give you guys was that I finally started reading the Throne of Glass series. Y'all know I was reading ACOTAR for the first part of the year, and I finished that in like February, and Justin bought me the rest of Sarah J. Maas's books, so the Throne of Glass series and then Crescent City, and I was trying to decide which series to read next, and then I settled on Throne of Glass, and then I get on TikTok and everybody has this debate about what order to read Throne of Glass in. So I was literally terrified and paralyzed myself and decided just not to even start reading it, because I didn't know which books I wanted to read in what order. But now I have just fully decided I'm reading Throne of Glass first, then I'm gonna read, I don't even know what the second one is, but I'm gonna read Assassin's Blade third. If you're familiar with the series, then you know what I'm talking about, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, then I'm sorry for confusing you. But just know that there are a few different ways that you can read this series. And people are like very, what's the word I'm looking for? Passionate, I guess, is a good word to use. People are really passionate about the order in which you read this series. So it was kind of a little scary and daunting. Book talk scared me a little bit, but it's okay. I am like 100 or so pages in, and it's good. You know, we kind of jump right into the story, and I'm now getting to like the middle-ish part of the book, so things are starting to pick up even more. So I'm excited. I'll keep you guys updated on when I finish that. But there's 7 series, 7 books in this series, so this one might take me a little bit to get through. Aside from that, I am recording this on a Wednesday, so by the time you guys hear this, I recorded this last week, and this weekend is Miss Louisiana USA. USA weekend. And I'm so excited because pageant season comes around once a year. And every time I just am so excited to see like my pageant family, my pageant directors, all of my pageant friends. Like it truly is like a reunion this time every single year. So I'm very excited to go sit in the audience and watch who will be crowned Miss Louisiana USA 2024. They have so many good competitors this year. Like I genuinely don't even know how this is going to go, but I am rooting for my teeny queen, Sydney. She's finally a Miss and she's competing in Miss this year. She was my teen when I was Miss Louisiana USA. So seeing her compete in Miss is just like, dang girl, we getting old. But yeah, I'm excited to see who's going to join the family this weekend. And yeah, that's really all that I had in today's intro. So I don't want to bore you guys too long, because if y'all listened to last week's episode, then you know I've been keeping a secret. And I told y'all that I would tell you today. Oh, I'm getting nervous now. Okay. I don't even know why I'm nervous. Like I'm literally just in the room by myself talking to people, but even just to say this out loud and to know that this is going live today and we're telling people about it today is just a little bit nerve-wracking. Okay. All right. Are you guys ready for the big surprise? So speaking of pageants, you guys know I was Miss Louisiana USA 2020, and pageants has kind of been a big part of my story and kind of what has landed me here today and even starting this podcast. So I am very excited to announce that me and my sister Shelby are starting our own pageant. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm saying that. We are starting the Miss Greater Baton Rouge pageant, and I am so excited. I am beyond excited. Like I genuinely cannot believe that the time has finally come. We have been wanting to do this for such a long time, and I'm just glad that we figured out a way to make it happen, and I'm so excited. So today's podcast episode is basically going to be me telling you guys about Miss Greater Baton Rouge, why we started it, why it's important to us, but then also on the flip side of it, I want to talk about doing things stupid and doing them scared, because I literally didn't have any idea of like where to start or what to do. I didn't know how it was all going to come together. I still don't know how it's all going to come together, but I knew that this was something that I wanted to do, and I just had to take the step of faith. And so that's what we're doing. So today's podcast episode is really just going to be about new beginnings, like starting things, even though you might be scared, even though you might not know where to start or what to do or how to get it going, like accepting the fact that it's not going to be perfect, but if it's something that you know you want to do, if it's been on your heart to actually like figure out how to take the steps to doing it. So honestly, let's just get right into it, okay? Because now I just feel like I want to be a blabbermouth. But Miss Greater Baton Rouge is very special to me because it is the title that I wore when I won Miss Louisiana USA. So it just kind of feels like a full circle moment to have that title be, you know, my crowning moment, and then to now extend that same hopefully path for somebody else to be Miss Greater Baton Rouge and be crowned Miss Louisiana USA. So it's truly exciting, and I think this is going to be very fulfilling in such a special way, in a way that I can't even fathom, honestly. We are an official preliminary to Miss Louisiana USA, meaning that when you win Miss Greater Baton Rouge, you will be competing at Miss Louisiana USA, which is so exciting. Like I said, my sister and I have been wanting to do this for a while now. I would say for at least 4 years. I knew that when I was Miss Louisiana USA, or after I gave up my title in 2021, I was just kind of like, we can start our own. Like I remember bringing it up to Shelby and I was like, we can totally start our own prelim and like train our winners and send them to state and like have them, you know, win and go on the same journey that I did. And we kind of didn't really solidify the idea, and then I wanted to do it, what was that, in 2023, not 2023, in 2022 I wanted to get the ball rolling on it, but we all know I ended up getting pregnant, so it just didn't seem like it was the right time to kind of go into it, because there were a lot of unknowns, and I was also just very scared, and you know, I was dealing with my own thing at that point in time, so I definitely did not need to start on a new whole adventure being pregnant or even just like being freshly postpartum. So I told my sister, when was this? When did we talk about this? Maybe we talked about this in like August or September of last year, 2023, after I was a few months postpartum. And I brought it back up to her again. And I was like, what do you think? Like, should we just go ahead and do it? And she's like, let's just go for it. And so from that point on, I was just kind of like, hit the ground running, and I've been running ever since, and I'm still running. There is so much that goes into one, creating a business, but also on the pageantry side of it, like there's so much back end stuff that you don't really think about when you're competing. You just arrive and like everything is already there for you. But for me, like being on the director side of it now, it's like I'm literally handling every single thing. I'm writing up every single piece of paperwork. I have to write up the contract. I have to make sure like the registration forms are good, that the website is up, that like we have this whole brand and persona on social media. Like there is a lot that goes into building a brand and creating something that is going to be successful. Now, luckily for me with Girls in Real Life, I've already kind of had the experience, I guess, of starting from scratch, like literally starting something from scratch and building it up. I've gone through branding processes. I've gone through rebranding processes. I've gone through, logos, picking color schemes, doing a social media, getting people to see the vision. Like I feel like Girls in Real Life has kind of trained me for this moment, which is kind of cool because I felt a lot more confident going into this branding process than I did when I first started Girls in Real Life. Because when I started Girls in Real Life, I really had no idea of what it meant to like start a brand and like make something come alive and get people to invest in the vision. But because I was able to walk through that, I feel like it's just kind of set me up for this moment to get started on Miss Greater Baton Rouge. I think the biggest thing for me, like obviously pageant girls are going to know. Like they're going to know. They're not really going to need any extra information. It's not going to be anything new because like if you've been in the pageant world, then like, oh, this is a prelim, like I'm going to sign up, whatever. But we really, really wanted to focus on young women who maybe have never been in pageants before, who don't even really know what pageants entail. Like we really wanted to cater to novices in this field because we wanted to make pageants accessible. We want it to be something that like it's not just some secret thing that only a few certain people know about. We want everyone in our community to know about Miss Greater Baton Rouge, what we stand for, and what can happen for you and your personal growth and development if you do win our title. So we're not just catering to all these successful pageant girls who have been in the industry for a very long time. We really are catering to people who literally probably have no idea what pageantry is, because that is who I was. Like I genuinely had no idea what pageants entailed, how I could better myself competing in them, why I would even want to compete in them, right? My sister literally had to push me to get to this moment of where it was like, oh, okay, like pageants are cool, pageants are interesting, and I see the benefit of it. So that's kind of like where we wanted to place ourselves in pageantry, because there are quite a few prelims in our state. We have Miss Lafayette and Miss Acadiana, which is a prelim pageant. We have Miss Sportsman's Paradise and Crescent City, I think that's another prelim. Well, that might be the only two. Oh no, we have Miss Pelican State as well. So we have a few other pageants, preliminary pageants in kind of like our state, but none really specifically in Baton Rouge. We do have a Miss Baton Rouge. It is kind of like an official preliminary to Miss Louisiana, but they don't really have the rights to the title. So that's just a whole nother thing. Like I'm not even going to get into that, but they do have a Miss Baton Rouge pageant, and I did compete in that pageant. But this is just different. Like Miss Greater Baton Rouge is just different. So we really want to make sure that like, yes, obviously we want the well-seasoned pageant girls to come and compete in our pageant, but we also want girls who have never done this before and to take a chance on themselves and to step out of their comfort zone, because that is literally how I fell in love with pageantry. And if it wasn't for somebody pushing me to do it, aka my sister, then I honestly wouldn't be where I am today. And I feel like pageants has truly really shaped me into the woman that I've always wanted to be. It's given me confidence. It raised up my self-esteem. I have great speaking skills. I'm a people person. Like, there are just so many life skills that you learn through pageantry, whether you win a big state or national title or not. And I also understand that people have the argument that, pageants aren't really needed anymore, but I feel like they'll always be needed. There are always going to be young girls who seek to have more confidence in themselves. There are always going to be young women who want to grow personally. There are always going to be young women who want to work on their speaking skills or their interview skills, right? Like, I don't think that pageants are going to die out anytime soon. And I think that they're still just as important today as they were 10, 15 years ago. This is really just a way for my sister and I to take our winners on the same transformative journey that I went on competing in pageants, and hopefully teach them skills, like I said, that are not just going to make them successful in pageants, but are going to make them successful in any aspect of life that they want to go in. So it's definitely been an exciting process, but also challenging as well. Like I said, there's a lot of things on the back end that you really have to figure out for yourself. Now, granted, I am so glad that I have people that I can call on for help and like a support system, because if I did not have them, I truly would still be at point A. And like, now I feel like we made it along to like point G, but we still got a little bit of ways to go. But yeah, I feel like there have been a lot of people that have helped me along the way. And I feel like I've just done a lot of research and figured out a lot of things on my own as well. So definitely is challenging, but I think the challenge is going to be worth the reward. The logo is so cute, you guys. It is in Baton Rouge. If you guys aren't from Baton Rouge at all, we have a bridge that crosses the Mississippi River, and I got connected with a graphic designer, and I gave him like a rough draft kind of what I was envisioning. It was literally just like a crown with some letters. It was very, very basic. And then I gave that to him, and I was like, can you zhuzh up this concept a little bit, like give me something that's a little bit more solidified, that has like the vision that I'm going for to where I want the brand to go. And he absolutely killed it. He made our logo literally the bridge, but he turned the bridge into a crown with like sparkles on top and the acronym of our letters underneath. And it is the cutest. I could have never come up with that. I literally could have never come up with that. And I feel like it just fits our brand so well, because like I said, we do want to make pageants accessible. And what is the most accessible thing in Baton Rouge? The bridge. And it connects, these two sides of our city. And so I just feel like it was perfect and it was beautiful and I love it so much. I designed the website all on my own. Okay. So when you go to it, be gentle with me, because that website, it was a process, okay? It was a labor of love, but I put a lot into it. I put a lot of information in there. And I feel like for at least year one, it's definitely going to get the job done. And then obviously we have the social. So we have the Instagram, and then we also have the Facebook page. And yeah, I just really want it to be branded and cute and nice. And I really just want to like stand out from everybody else, like I really want people to be like, oh, they know what they're doing. They're put together. They're organized. Even though we might not be in like reality, I still want to, give off those vibes. But okay, I'm going to stop rambling about the pageant now, because I feel like most of you are not here to listen to this part of the episode. And I'm sorry, but I'm just so excited. And like I said, I genuinely cannot believe that the day has finally come for us to announce this to the world. Our pageant is going to be in June, on June 29th. So we're still a little bit of months away, but if you or someone are interested in competing, please go to our website, fill out the registration form, and I will personally get back to you. But let's get into the nitty-gritty of what this episode is about, because like I said, I can sit here and talk about my pageant all day, but starting a business in and of itself, no matter what it is no small feat. Like, it really takes a lot of grit, a lot of determination, a lot of hard work, a lot of sleepless nights, like it really does take a lot out of you. So I really just want to hopefully encourage somebody out there who is thinking about starting a business or wants to step out and do something new, but they're just too scared to do it, or they feel like they're not qualified to do it, or they have like imposter syndrome about doing it. Like, I'm speaking to you today, because I feel like in today's society, a lot of people push this entrepreneurial culture, but nobody is really outright telling you what it means to be an entrepreneur. Everybody is just seeing like all the success of everything, but nobody is like really digging into the hard work or the characteristics that you need to have in order to be a successful entrepreneur. So if starting a business or being an entrepreneur in any way, shape, or form is something that you want to do, like these are honestly non-negotiable qualities that I think you need to have in order to at least be able to start. So the first quality that I think a successful entrepreneur needs to have is creativity, okay? You need to be creative. You need to be thinking outside of the box. You need to be bringing something to the table. You need to be solving a problem or being innovative in the space that you're going into. Because if you're just coming into the space and copying and pasting something from ChatGPT or you saw somebody else doing it, like, I don't think you're going to be very successful because you're not putting in the work to actually think about your own product or think about your own business or whatever it is that you want to sell or start doing. Like you're literally just taking a template, slapping your name and logo on it and reselling it, which might work for some people, but I think that if you want longevity in whatever space that you're going into, you need to be creative, you need to be able to think outside of the box, and you need to be able to bring something to the table. Another quality that I think a successful entrepreneur needs to have is resilience, okay? A lot of people are going to give you a lot of no's, and you have to be prepared for that. And you cannot let somebody telling you no stop you from continuing to pursue the vision that you see for yourself. Because whether you're seeking sponsorships and donations like I am, whether you're seeking investors to buy into your business, whether you're seeking somebody to, I don't know, be your business partner or something, and they're like, no, I'm not into this. You know, like I just think that you need to be very resilient as an entrepreneur because you are going to hit so many roadblocks and you are going to come in contact with so many people who don't believe in you, who think that your idea is stupid, who don't, you know, agree with what it is that you're doing. And you really have to stay true to yourself and stay true to your vision and be resilient in that and like just bounce back from whatever people tell you. Because if you let somebody's criticism or somebody's no stop you from doing what you wanted to do in the first place, then maybe you weren't as passionate about it as you thought. Like you gave up way too easily. So I definitely think that you have to be resilient in this space. There are some things that take literally years to perfect. You can't just expect things to happen overnight, right? Like this is a very slow process and you have to be willing to run the marathon instead of sprinting the race. The last characteristic that I think any entrepreneur should have is you need to be willing to take a risk, all right? If you are not willing to take a risk or bet on yourself, then you can't expect anybody else to take a risk on you or bet on you, because if you don't fully believe in what it is that you're trying to do, how are you going to convince everybody else? Being an entrepreneur is going to come with some kind of sacrifice, right? Like whether it be time, whether it be money, whether it be energy, you're going to be sacrificing something, and you have to be willing to put that on the line. Like you have to be willing to say, even if this fails, I'm going to say that at least I tried, because the last thing that I want to do is to, you know, look back 10, 20 years from now and be like, man, I should have started that business. Man, I should have expounded on this business plan. Man, I should have done X, Y, and Z, right? Like you don't ever want to live your life with regret. So I think take the risk now. Like the only thing that could happen is you end up right back where you were in the beginning. So I think that there is always beauty in taking a risk, and I always encourage anybody to take a risk. Like I'm taking a big risk right now. We just moved into this new house. Now granted, I did not expect this to line up the way that it did, but I've been investing so much money into like this business and into the pageant, and we moved into this new house, and now it's just kind of like, oh, I wasn't expecting this, but like we're here. So it's just, there's a lot that's going to happen where like you feel like everything is on the line and you don't want to mess it up. But at the end of the day, you need to be proud of yourself for even taking the risk in the first place. So even if this pageant fails, even if we only have like 5 girls show up, like it really doesn't matter, because I can confidently like look in the mirror and tell myself, you did it. Like you actually went through with it, and I'm proud. So you really have to focus on the potential rewards rather than focusing on the risk itself. Because if you focus too much on the risk, then you can honestly talk yourself out of doing something. So you really need to think about all of the rewards and all of the great things that you're going to accomplish once, you get to where you want to be. And that's really what's going to keep you motivated and pushing yourself forward when things get hard. Okay, moving on. I think one of the main two reasons that stop people from wanting to start a business or start a new venture or try something new is, one, they don't know how to do it or how to get started. And two, they want everything to be perfect outright. And those are the top two reasons I think why most people just, don't ever try and do anything new. Let's start with we don't really know how to do it, how to get there, right? I feel like, yes, that can be an excuse, but only to a certain extent, because at some point, the only reason that you don't know how to do something is because you are refusing to learn how to do it. And granted, even if you do a whole bunch of research and, you write out a whole bunch of notes, there are still going to be things that you don't know and that you probably won't learn until you're actually in the thick of whatever it is that you're doing. Because whenever you're starting something new, you're going to come across a learning curve. Like, you might start it with just this much amount of knowledge, but then as you go through and, you stay in the business for years and years to come, you're going to collect so many other little nuggets of knowledge along the way. And it's going to allow you to have that wisdom, that older business people have, and be able to give advice to younger people who are starting businesses, right? So you don't need to know everything at the beginning, because if you knew everything at the beginning, then what's the fun in that, right? Like, there's no growth, there's no development, there's no learning curve. You're just kind of like, I already know everything. And it's not a good place to be, to truly be a know-it-all. Like, I feel like there is a lot to be said about somebody who does something stupid, who does something while, they're lacking that knowledge. And then, they go through it and now they come out at the end of it with every single thing that you ever needed to know. They've encountered all these different types of circumstances and environments and people, and you just collect so much from the different stages of your business or from your new venture. And I think that is something that's beautiful to witness, not to witness, but to experience. But moving on to the second thing that I said about people not starting businesses, which is you want everything to be perfect from the beginning. Like, you just want to have the best of the best equipment. You want to have the best of the best facilities. Like, you don't really want to start from the gutter. You want to start in the Bel Air mansion. And while there is nothing wrong with like wanting to be at that level at the beginning, again, I think that there is something so beautiful in watching people who, literally started from the bottom and made their way to the top. Like, literally Steve Jobs and the iPhone and Jeff Bezos and Amazon, right? Like, we all know these stories and we're all inspired by them because they shared how they started from the bottom and how they made it to the top. So I think that, as a business owner, you might be even more relatable if you just share your journey from the beginning and be like, hey, look, I don't know everything. I don't have the best equipment. I don't have the best facilities, but like, this is what it is right now. And I want to bring you guys along this journey of watching me grow. You can't have too much pride, right? Like, you can't be too prideful to actually start small and then eventually scale up. Okay. There's nothing wrong with humble beginnings. There is nothing wrong with, if you want to start being a YouTuber, taping your phone to the window, like how I used to do years ago, and recording a video. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. People are inspired by those stories more so than the person who had all the money from the jump to just invest in this and like get people to do all sorts of things and like had the best facility. Like, people don't really care about those kinds of stories, right? People care about the stories of people being real and showing the honest truth behind what it actually means to start small and scale up. Now, I think the one thing that can help you if you do want to start a business, or I keep saying business, but if you want to do anything new, if you want to start on a new venture, you need to have a good support system around you. You need to have a good network around you. And I'm talking about people who have done the thing that you're trying to do before, because those are the people that you're going to learn the most from. You need to build a network of mentors and supporters and advisors and peers who are going to offer you guidance and also encourage you in those times of need when you need it, because let's be real, you gonna need a little bit of push every now and again, because you're gonna feel like I can't do this, and then those people are gonna be there like, yes you can. And I'm so grateful for my support system and my mentors and my advisors who have like helped me along the way. I have to just give a shout out to Shireen and Raina from the Power Pump Girls. They have been with me since the beginning, like way back in 2019 after I won Miss Louisiana USA and I wanted to start this podcast. They were the ones that helped me kind of formulate it and figure out, how to get to this point basically. And ever since then, we just kind of been really good friends. They've been really good mentors to me. And they've really helped me with this process of like starting the business, filing for a nonprofit, opening a business bank account, helping me with my sponsorship deck, answering literally any question that I have under the sun. Like, I honestly could not have done this without them. So Shireen and Raina, if y'all are listening to this, thank you so much. Like, I love y'all more than you will ever know. And I'm so grateful for your guidance and your support. But that's what I mean. Like, you really need to have a group of people who you can ask questions to at 10:30 p.m., who are going to give you the answers and not gatekeep information because they don't want to see you succeed, right? Like, you really need to take inventory of the people that you have around you and surround yourself with people who are going to guide you and uplift you and be there for you, because you're going to need it. Like, this is not easy. It's not easy starting a business. It's very mentally taxing, it's very emotionally taxing, and physically taxing, honestly. So you really need to have like a good group of people around you helping guide you along the way, so that you don't get burnt out or you don't make a really bad decision that you can't come back from, right? Like, you want to have people who have been where you are and who are at where you want to be. Does that sound right? To help guide you through, this journey that you're on, is basically all that I'm trying to say. And the last thing that I think I'm going to talk about today is you need to celebrate your success and you need to celebrate your milestones, because like I said, this journey is long and it is hard. And when you accomplish something, you need to take note of that, whether it be somebody invested in your business, whether it be you did something that you've never done before, whether it be you made it to the next step of registering your LLC, like whatever it is, you need to celebrate that milestone, because every little small milestone is going to lead you to ultimately to where you want to be. And if you just kind of disregard those things as like not important or things that you thought were going to happen anyways, then I think that you really lose the beauty of this process. So I really do think that it's important to take inventory of everything that you've accomplished thus far and to stop comparing yourself to everyone else, to everything you see on social media. Like, it's just, comparison is the thief of joy, and it's not a good place to be if you continue comparing yourself to somebody else who might be doing something that you want to be doing, or who is doing the same thing that you're doing. Like, you have to realize that you are special in your own way, and you have something different and unique and new and fresh to bring to the table, and people are going to love that because it's coming from you, right? So definitely celebrate your milestones and everything that you accomplish along the way. I remember when I got my first sponsorship from, well, I guess I'm not going to tell you guys who it was from, but we got our first sponsorship a few weeks ago, and I had been outreaching to sponsors what felt like for weeks, y'all. Like, I'd been sending emails and DMs and nobody was getting back to me. And I honestly was just like, what if nobody invests money into this and like everything has to come out of my own pockets? Like, what am I going to do? And when they sent me an email saying that they wanted to sponsor, like be one of our sponsors, like a monetary donation sponsor, okay? I'm not talking about no in kind. I'm not talking about no gift card. Like, this is for me to put in the business. Like, oh, I was so happy. I literally squealed. I called Shireen immediately and I was like, guess what? Like, it was just so exciting, because it felt like after everybody was like ignoring me or not responding to me, and I was seeing that they read my message, but they just weren't responding back, I was just kind of like getting defeated. And so to get somebody to actually like be like, yes, we want in on this, I was just like, thank you, Jesus, because I didn't think the day would come. So that was really exciting. Another big milestone that we got was whenever I was reaching out to venues. like this was back in, when did I start reaching out to venues? Like back in December of last year, I was reaching out to venues and being like, hey, I didn't even have a sponsorship deck together. I was literally just calling people like, hey, me and my sister are starting this. Like, that's all the information I have right now, but do you want to be our venue sponsor? And I talked to like a few different people, but eventually we ended up getting our venue sponsor for completely free, you guys. Like, literally don't have to pay a dime for our venue, which is a blessing in and of itself. So we have our venue sponsor, we have like 2 monetary sponsors at this point that I'm recording this, and hopefully we get more. But that just goes to show that, like, celebrate those victories. Like, those were really big things. And even though I might not be at my goal yet of how much money that we need to raise in sponsorships and donations, like, we're getting a little bit closer. Like, we're closer than what we were at, which is 0. So now we have a little bit of, money to put in the business bank account, which I just opened up earlier this week. So things are slowly but surely rolling and moving along. And like I said, it's a process. I don't expect everything to happen overnight. I don't expect people to respond to my messages. There's a lot of following up, a lot of bugging people, which I don't like to do, but you have to. The hard part is getting people to invest in your vision, because everybody doesn't see it the way that you do. Like, in my mind, I see this pageant being a very successful prelim for years and years to come. But because it hasn't even happened yet, you really have to like fight to get people on board with you. And it's hard. It really is, because there's only so many people that you can convince at the very beginning until you get the ball rolling and you have actual stats to show for yourself. But to the people who are taking chances on me and to the people who are taking chances on you, like, that is just a testament of how you were able to get people to see your vision and how they do want to see you succeed. They do want to be a part of something that could possibly be big, and they get to say, I was invested in this at the very beginning. I was an OG, I was a ride or die, and now that you're like way up here at the top, like, they get to come up with you, and it's just so fun and it's so exciting. So honestly, like, I don't know, I feel like that was all that I had to say. I guess the last thing that I want to leave you guys with is, if you are someone who has had a business idea for a long time, if you are someone who has been wanting to take a chance on something for a long time, you need to just do it, okay? You might not see the results until months and months later, but you'll literally never see the results if you don't start now. It might take time. It might be a long process. It might be a waiting period. You might be waiting for years, but you will still be at a farther point at that time than you would be if you were just not doing anything, which is what you're doing right now. So again, you might not see the results until months or years later, but you'll never see the results if you don't start now. So my biggest piece of advice for you is to just start now. Do it stupid and do it scared. Do it not knowing anything and figuring out along the way, because that is the beauty of the journey. There's a lot to be said about a person that takes a chance on themselves. And I applaud anybody out there who is starting a business, who has started a business, who has taken a leap of faith, who has taken a risk on something, right? Like, it takes a lot of confidence to do that. Confidence in yourself, confidence in your dream, confidence in your vision. And at the end of the day, that's literally all that you have, is that vision, right? Like, sometimes you might be the only one who sees it just for now. You might be the only one who sees it just for now. But if you start and you keep pushing and you keep working and you keep, making a name for yourself, other people are going to see, I see what she was trying to do at the very beginning, and look at her now. She's doing it. And then you're going to have people who didn't want to get involved then, who want to be involved now because they see that you are hot or whatever. Y'all, I don't know what I'm saying. I just wanted to offer a little bit of words of encouragement and motivation to anybody who is like on the edge of maybe what could be the best thing that they ever did for themselves, right? You never know. You have to take the risks to find out. So I hope this episode was helpful to anyone who is wanting to start something, start a business, start a pageant. I'm very excited to be co-director of Miss Greater Baton Rouge with my dear sister, my best friend, the person who got me into pageants in the first place. Why am I getting emotional? I was not supposed to cry when I said that, but it just feels so right. It feels like this is what it was all for. Like, my pageant journey, finding myself, finding confidence, and being okay with like who I authentically am as a person. Like, it's all coming full circle right now. And I am so excited to help our winners in June go through that same transformative journey and personal growth, and embracing their authenticity and finding that confidence the same way that I did, which is through pageants. So it's a very special project. It's a passion project for the both of us. And even if it didn't make me a dime, if I was able to help our two winners in any way, shape, or form, like, it would be worth it. Pageants single-handedly changed my life, in more ways than one. And I'm forever grateful. And I'm excited to take as many people on this journey who are willing to come with me. It's not about me, okay? Even though I was telling you guys about Miss Greater Baton Rouge, I didn't want this episode to really be about me and the pageant. I really wanted it to be about encouraging someone else who might, be hesitant about starting something, and hopefully motivate them to just do it like Nike. So I'm rambling at this point. I'm going to go now, but I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please subscribe to the podcast. Leave me a nice little comment down below if you're on YouTube, or a review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It goes a long way, and I appreciate it so much. But that is it for me today. Next week will be my birthday, and we'll do birthday reflections, which I'll probably cry on that episode as well. All right, I'm going to go. I love you so much. Have a great Monday, a great week, and I'll talk to you in my next episode. Bye.